really like that intro. Welcome back to your live continuing coverage of NAB 2017 here in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Las Vegas Convention Center on the Live View booth in the BeTerrific set. I am just excited. It is a good set. Well, you know this guy. I'm Michael Artsis. You're the Terrifics. You make BeTerrific special at BeTerrific TV on all social media. And I know that a lot of our Terrifics are in the Slack chat. Connect at BeTerrific.com. I know Jenny's there, Digital Phil, Paul Dixon from the UK.
Awesome.
You know who's not there? The Extender, because he's here. We just saw him.
Cool.
And he's going to come on and talk his products. It's so good to have you here, but you've been with us kind of all week, just behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a busy week.
Eric Fletcher, you're
SOC.
SOC. I was going to say that. Hold on.
All one.
But I was gonna give you a big build-up. He's jumping the build-up.
Build the build-up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Eric Fletcher, you're an amazing cinematographer, and that's why you have SOC at the end of your. Hold on, I'm getting there.
Cinematographers are ASC.
Hold on, Eric. He's jumping the interview. All right, here, you interview me.
No.
We'll turn this around. Come on.
No. Go ahead.
All right. So Eric is I say an amazing cinematographer. Hold on, because he does some DP work, he does some producing work, he does some directing work, and he's most known as a camera operator, which gives him the initials at the end of his name, SOC. So he's Eric Fletcher, SOC. So I was going to build you up and say you were amazing at all these things.
I love it, and I interrupted. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry,
so SOC, which stands for Society of Camera Operator, right?
Yes.
Society of Camera Operators is a wonderful organization. I'm an associate member.
Yes, you are.
SOC.org. You do great work. We're going to talk about that in a second. Let me just talk about you for another second. You were a camera operator on Dexter.
Yes.
True Blood. You do a lot of work with Grey's Anatomy.
Yep.
The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah,
Shameless, all sorts of stuff. We got to get the microphone up here.
Pilots, Shameless, all sorts of stuff.
You're a good friend. You're a great guy, and you are the driving force, especially creatively, behind Broadway Bartender, which is our newest show on BeTerrific.
Yep.
We're going to debut 4 new shows by the fall, maybe 5, and it's going to be unbelievable. And we're going to redo the whole BeTerrific platform.
Yeah,
we're really coming into our own and becoming an OTT.
Yep, and it's really exciting, and we're doing a lot of stuff.
Yes. And I am excited that you're part of it. We're going to talk about Broadway Bartender on the tail end of this, right? I want to give people a behind the scenes because they've gotten a chance to watch the show. Now we can tell them a behind the scenes. But let's talk about some of the other things. So you're doing a Society of Camera Operators, an SOC tech tour here.
Yeah, we did that yesterday.
Yep. And so what has that been like?
That's an interesting, that was interesting. We've never done it before. NAB asked us to put together a tour.
You have to, so you're probably the most knowledgeable guy I've ever met as far as the tech in this space goes. And you certainly have a very high level of understanding. Do you have to bring it down a level to talk to the people who are on the tour?
Yeah.
I mean, we had a very interesting but deep conversation yesterday about the electronics and the sensors in gimbals.
How to do stabilization.
Right? Yep. And I can't imagine that you could have that on the tech tour, right?
No, and even in that conversation, I had to bring it back.
At least for 2 of the people there.
I've been very fortunate in my career. I've been very fortunate that I was always a curious kid, and I grew up around engineers. So I kind of have that thinking, and I have this really silly ability to absorb information. Although if you tell me a phone number, I'll forget the area code by the time you give me the last 4 digits.
8675309. Do you remember that one? That's part of a song.
I know. And
do you remember that one?
It's not a good song.
It's not, but do you remember the number?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have a choice.
Anyway.
So and I've been involved in a lot of really interesting and strange projects.
Right.
And that's one of the beautiful things about the motion picture industry is I get to see and do things that you don't normally get to see and do, and get to go places. And I've uttered phrases that you would never ever imagine having to suggest to an actor doing a love scene.
Really, like what?
Could you swivel your hips to the left when you get into bed to hide the sock?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, no. those aren't favorite things.
Can I guess who that was?
Sure.
Joe Mangiano from True Blood.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
He's a ladies' man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. It was I remember exactly where we were in the room. I remember exactly where the crane was.
Could you swivel your hips to hide the sock? Now the
Swivel
sock,
your hips to the left as you get into the bed.
Right. Now I
and
imagine
the sock hides the.
it hides the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah.
Right.
To prevent
Well, it
incidental
doesn't hide from the
contact.
camera. It's not to hide it from the camera.
No, it's to
hide it from the other actor.
It's a modesty.
Do they tape the sock
It's called
on?
a modesty stock. I'm not even getting into that.
No,
I
I'm
have
just
no
curious.
Idea. No. My interaction with
It's
that
good that
sock
it's a
is it's 20 feet away from me.
Does the
I'm on a
sock-
crane
is
on
the
the
sock
wheels.
expendable? It's got to be expendable.
I'm not getting into that.
Look how red I made Eric.
I am just not getting into that.
You know what? I love that Triv is laughing.
I am
All right.
just not
We'll
getting into
we'll
that.
keep it PG here.
Yeah.
We're just talking
that's
about a
some
sock.
serious behind the scenes.
Now, is it just one last question? Is it a tube sock? Is it nice and thick?
I have no idea what they give them. I don't want to have any idea.
Swivel your hips to the left when you get into the bed so you can hide the sock.
So you can hide the sock.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Which of course made everybody on set laugh, including Joe. So.
Well, it worked here today too. So thank you.
And I finished it with, God, the things you never imagine yourself having to say as an adult.
Now, the thing is, what I think I've realized from knowing you and from interviewing guys like Mitch Dubin and you is that, people don't realize how much camera operators influence the films and television we watch. And the relationship that actors and camera operators have and how that also influences the films and television. I talk about your relationship with Michael C. Hall on Dexter all the time in the kill rooms, but I thought even in talking to Mitch Dubin the other day, you also have to know when to kind of back down and be not even seen, right? So like he did Lincoln, and he said it was the strangest experience of his life because, Daniel Day-Lewis wants to be in character the whole time, method acting, and doesn't want to know the crew exists, which means that as the operator, you have to be silent. You can't really talk to him, but you also have to have good body language or you're going to give off cues that you're uninterested in and this isn't working.
I did a low-budget movie with Bryan Cranston, who best known for Breaking Bad. He was doing... I think it was Malcolm in the Middle. Yeah. At the time, and
wonderful show.
And he came in character as this swarmy British dude, had a mustache, all this, and he did it on purpose to see if he could fool the crew. And at our wrap party 18 days later, all of a sudden Bryan Cranston walks in, and everybody's like, "Why is Bryan Cranston at our wrap party?" And he was like, "Because I was in the movie." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
That's amazing.
And my second AC was, she's British. And she's like, "Okay, the accent works because it fooled me." So, yeah, sometimes actors do that. The relationship it's pretty insane where, I have to be able to have the relationship to say something to Joe. It's like, swivel your hips to the left so I don't see the sock.
What was the craziest thing you had to say to Michael C. Hall on Dexter?
Not much. Michael and I, a lot of our communication was nonverbal. Okay. A lot of our communication was we just knew what the other person was going to do. That's why that relationship works. That's why the kill rooms work the way they do.
But see, that's a perfect example
because Michael and I are just inside of each other's heads.
That's a perfect example of having to know when to back off and when to talk, right? When to have, so I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, generally in a kill room, Michael's question was too much, too little.
Right.
And that's all the question was. He would just look at me and go, "Too much?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." "Too little?" "Yeah."
What about David Zayas?
Oh, Dr. Z? He's great to work with, period. If I would ask the actors to do something, they would all do it because they knew that I had a reason. Right. And it was usually to make them look better.
So the SOC is a great organization, does a lot of great charity work, and everybody should get involved if they're in the industry.
Yeah, Children's Eye Hospital is our primary charity.
So it's SOC.org.
SOC.org.
And now you're doing tech tours here. And so the tech tour was interesting. How was it?
It was really great. I mean, we started at 9:30 at Shotover, recipient of our 2017, one of our two 2017 technical awards. And they showed us all their range of stabilized mounts, which are pretty amazing, including their proprietary heavy lift drone, which can lift up to 55 pounds.
Wow.
Oh, it's a beast.
So here's my question. You're really knowledgeable. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable, but you're much more knowledgeable than I am. I haven't seen anything that blew me away this year in an innovation way. I haven't seen that much innovation at NAB. And
there's one piece that all of us were really excited to see.
Yeah.
But it is a derivative, and to a lot of people, why we're excited won't make sense to them.
Okay.
There is in the over by the beer garden outside, there is a techno crane, but it's mounted to a motivator on a truss, so there's no base on the ground, and that's actually pretty exciting because now you'll never see the base if you want to do a 360 shot looking internally.
That's pretty amazing.
It's very amazing. And then I gave them a suggestion. They went, "Ooh, that's even cooler."
What do you think of 360 VR video? And why do you do
360 VR video is the new 3D.
what?
It's the new 3D.
Really? You really believe that?
There's no way to put yourself in inside of a scripted drama. There's no way to do it.
I saw this
make it
one thing. I
believable.
haven't seen it duplicated. It was really cool. It was done by Lexus as a promotion with Quantico,
Yeah.
and I thought it was great.
The problem I have with it is you're stuck with a fixed focal length.
Yeah.
That is
Today.
not, in order for it to stitch,
Yeah.
if you go with a longer lens, now you have to start increasing the number of cameras. So all that happens is it's the same field of view, only larger.
Right.
And one of the tools we use in telling the story is lens focal length.
Right.
So
I think people don't realize that, by the way. I mean, I realize that, but so for instance, let me give you an example. This is what I think why DSLRs were such a huge hit, because now anybody who would normally have a video camera could get a film-like look, and the film-like look, people didn't really understand what it was. Certainly, the DSLRs looked better than video cameras at the time, but what the real look was being able to change and control your depth of field and to have a shallow depth of field. And so what happens, and people don't realize this in film, because they just are viewers, they just watch it. To them, it just happens. If we're in a scene together, and they shoot a shot over my shoulder of you, and you're talking, you're in focus, the background's blurred, my face is slightly blurred. Whatever you're seeing of me is blurred over my shoulder, over my face. It's not in focus. It's telling your eyes to focus on you.
Right.
And then when I start talking, they rack the focus, and the focus is on me, and you're at least slightly out of focus.
Right.
At the very least, you're slightly out of focus, and I'm in focus.
Right.
Whatever part of my face. And then they might cut to another camera and cut back.
It's a great example of that in Broadway Bartender, The Great Comet. Anyway, go ahead.
We're going to get there. But the point is, and I'm excited to get there, by the way, but the point is that people don't realize what it's doing is it's telling you where to pay attention as the viewer.
It's not just limited to depth of field. It's limited to total field of view, how a focal length changes the relative size of objects in the frame, where they are in space relative to each other.
How does somebody learn? So I think I'm a decent shooter, but I'm a journalist, right? How does somebody learn what you know? Because you can go to film school, I guess, but you get some of that, but you don't really get it.
I mean, right now everybody goes to Google U or YouTube U.
Yeah. YouTube U. I think that I think that's where Triv is going right now. YouTube U.
There actually is a guy on YouTube who does some really good in-depth analysis of filming techniques, and I think it's every frame a painting, is the name of his channel. I can't remember the channel, but he'll break down the way scenes are shot, and he actually does a really good job of it. But you know, it's experience, it's education, it's reading, it's looking at other things, looking at other films and videos, and then reading the equipment that they're using and understanding how they're using stuff. You know, the Men in Black movies are generally shot on a 21mm lens because that's what Barry Levinson thinks is funny.
Right.
The 21's funny.
Okay.
The 24 is not funny. But
the lens is what's funny.
The lens is what's funny.
Oh.
I mean, so it's.
It'd be good if the script was funny.
Yeah, everybody has their own approach. I mean.
That's interesting. All right, so let's talk a little Broadway Bartender.
Okay.
So we shot some episodes without your involvement, and then we had you get involved.
Yep.
And the difference is remarkable. You can see it on set in many different ways.
Yep.
You came in there in 2 minutes and made 20 minor adjustments that made a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
How do you walk into a room without ever being there and do that? And you looked at some photos, so you had some.
I looked at some photos. I looked
Location
at some
scouting.
footage. I saw what the room had to offer, what it was geographically, what was going to be in all the shots, and you know, I kind of know that. You know, like in an interview, there's multiple ways of doing interviews. That's an intimate interview in a bar setup. This is still an intimate interview, but it's in a convention floor, and we want to see the environment. So this is lit up. On that one, there's some interest with all the bottles, and there's some potential for some nice backgrounds and things like that. So I knew I wanted to put some lights back there to accent those, but not to key the room.
So I think one of the things that you just mentioned is something that people almost always overlook, especially on lower end productions. And they almost always overlook the accent lights, lighting the background, kind of trim lights. And I think it's really important to bring that to everybody's attention.
Well, it's the lighting that makes the scene real. Because you don't realize it, but you have accent lights in your house. Your house looks a certain way. Because you have a table lamp over here is going to be a little hotter. You know, this is the reading area that's going to tail off over here. The light from the other room is going to give a little bit of something over in that corner. So we're surrounded by it daily, but we don't think about it. And what I see a lot of people starting off doing is they light the subject, and that's it. And they forget about the environment. One of the things that worked really well on Dexter was we had 2 DPs that did amazing jobs of lighting the environment, not the actors, and then letting the actors play in the room. And our actors were good. Our actors would find lights, and we would augment areas. So, you know, walk up to the sink, you're going to be a little more lit, but you would also light the environment so that then we had the freedom to shoot anywhere in the room.
I think it's also important that somebody like you, as a camera operator, has the lighting knowledge, because if you just had the camera operation knowledge or the cinematography knowledge, even though there's a lighting department to come in and light, most times, especially in film and shows like Dexter, you wouldn't be able to execute as well, and certainly you wouldn't be able to work on productions like Broadway Bartender and make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is like in a feature and a television show, lighting is heavily influenced by the production design, by the set design, by what the environment is. You know, I'm not going to have shafts of sunlight coming in from where we can obviously see a wall. That's going to be determined by windows. So, you know, the production design definitely helps to give a basis and give a framework of how you're going to light something.
Let's take everybody behind the scenes in Broadway Bartender. Let's talk about how we're doing this, how we're executing it, and we are doing something a little bit different, I think. We're doing, you like to call it a line cut. We're bringing a video switcher in, and we're switching between cameras as we go.
Yeah, it gives us an editorial basis to get a framework of how the show's going, how the show's looking. Sometimes you can use a line cut as a time saver in post. I used it for the first round basically just to get a feel for the show. So I cut it one way. I look at the line cut, see how the line cut plays, see if the line cut is where I want the emphasis of the show to be. Because that's one of the other things in editing a show like that, is I'm kind of helping the audience target what needs to be targeted. Every once in a while you got to cut back to a reaction shot so that your host is there and you know that your host is participating. But 9 times out of 10 in the show, I'm more interested in what the guest is saying.
Yeah.
So the line cut's very useful to give you a backbone for the show. It also allows me to very quickly look at some stuff and identify where our problems are.
Well, it certainly has been really cool to do and working out well. So you've got several different cameras. Unfortunately, at the moment, we're using different types of cameras, which makes color correcting a little bit of a nightmare. But we are using different cameras. And so we're using a C500, a FS700, an A7S Mark I.
Yep, a D810.
A D810.
And then the other one.
And then the other one.
Yep.
We're not
going to
talking
about it.
Okay.
Because if Holtz doesn't sell it, I'm running it over.
Well, maybe we should just run it over. I don't think it's worth anything.
I'm happy to run it over.
You know what we could do? We could drop it off the roof of the building.
Ooh. Kind of like David Letterman with Smashing Pumpkins.
Well,
like that.
You know what? So we used to do a thing on the Michael Artsis show that was called...
or we could send it to Will It Blend.
Well, this is what we did. Off of Will It Blend, we came up with... what did I call it? Break Something Friday, something like that. And I used to have the guys throw stuff at me like they'd pitch it at me, gear, old gear, and I would take we have a wooden baseball bat, and I would destroy it, and we'd do it in high speed, so it was fun.
Awesome.
So what do you think?
I'm totally down for that.
Next time you're at the studio, we'll.
The problem is its form factor makes it really difficult to throw.
Oh no, I'll pitch it to you.
All right,
we'll
cool.
get it. We'll get it over the plate.
My bat's going to be a chainsaw.
No, you got to take a good cut at this thing.
I would take a cut at it with a chainsaw.
We also did.
Look at Adam. He's starting to freak out.
He said, "How about the
camera?"
He said, "How about the forklift?"
I can do that. So we have these 5 cameras, and post is interesting.
Right. And so ideally, you'd want to use 5 of the same camera.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But we're using 5 different cameras, and
each sensor has a totally different response profile.
Yeah. And but so then you're using sliders on some of them and not on others.
Yes. Both the over-the-shoulder cameras are on a slider.
Why? Because I notice you don't move them much. I noticed that.
Yeah, but sometimes I shoot it over the shoulder, sometimes I shoot it clean. And with the slider, I can pull it over into a clean, or I can pull it over into a dirty.
Oh. And so you don't have to reposition the tripod or anything.
It looks like I have another camera in the room.
Wow. Now, that's a good trick. It's a very good trick. So it looks like a 7-camera shoot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, on the other side, I have to have it when we have the 2 guests on that side.
Right.
Because I've got to slide around to single out the other
What
guest.
about using this? I mean, when DSLRs came out, for productions like this, people were using sliders for every single shot.
Yeah. And
we've kind of gone away from that.
Thank God.
Yeah. But we don't use it at all as a slider. I mean, we do, but we don't really slide slowly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really using it to dolly around or anything.
There was an interesting choice you made. When we shot it the first time, we just went tight shot, tight shot, tight shot, tight shot. We had the wide shots and stuff, but there was no shot over, let's say, Anthony, over the shoulder, and you chose to do it. Why? Yeah. A dirty over. I like it. It's like, what is that drink I like at Starbucks, Adam? Is that the dirty chai tea latte? He's shooting a dirty over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's various levels of dirty. Do you want it dirty or do you want it filthy?
Somehow I feel like we're talking about the sock again.
I was going to go with the martini because it's Broadway bartender.
Oh, right. I should have.
Dirty martini and the filthy martini. But no, you have to go to the sock.
Well, I could go back to the Starbucks drink, which is the chai tea latte.
Sure.
I'm going to go into Starbucks later. Adam, what do you think would happen if I went into Starbucks later and I said I'd like a filthy chai tea latte?
They'd make it for you, and they know exactly what it was.
Yeah, it's the over-the-shoulder shot that's far away. Yeah, okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
So what was the decision?
Why did I do that?
I'm going to tell you why I like it after you tell me why you did it.
Because it includes the other person.
Right.
So there's still a connection when they're talking.
That's what I was going to say is, to me, I wouldn't have said it that way. I would have just said it seems to me that it makes it more intimate.
Well, it makes it more intimate. It makes it that you're actually participating in the conversation.
Right.
That you're sitting in and kind of.
By the way, which is
over.
why I like some VR. We did a thing with Jackie the Joke Man where you are the fourth person at the table. It's Adam, Jackie,
Okay,
and I.
see,
And
that works.
then it's amazing.
That works.
Yeah.
But doing a Dexter in VR would not work.
It would have been weird in Dexter.
It would have just been.
I wouldn't have
wrong.
wanted to see it in Dexter. Look at that contraption. Would you ever use that?
Oh,
That is,
God, the
I
rubber
cannot
band
understand
man.
that. That is the Movi on a backpack on fishing rods.
Yeah, the rubber band man.
The rubber band man.
Yeah, I always like to challenge him to walk through a doorway.
You're a Steadicam operator.
Yeah,
You'd
he
never
can't.
use that. Would you put a Movi on a Steadicam?
You know, people have done it. People
Yeah.
have played with it, and like every piece of equipment that we have in the motion picture industry, it has a place. It's not the end-all, do-all.
Yeah.
The Movi's not the end-all, do-all. You know, a gimbal cannot replace a Steadicam simply because of the fact that it doesn't remove the Z-bob.
Do you think?
And the reality is I do not see the world from the perspective of my belt buckle.
However, do you think Steadicam will still exist in 5 years?
Yeah.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
I think they're struggling.
I mean, are you talking the manufacturer?
Yeah. I mean, other people make Steadicam-like devices. They don't make it anymore, but Sackler had one.
Well, the Sackler one is now at Arri.
It's an Arri one.
It's now Arri.
Okay,
Yeah,
so then
that was
so
bought
I'm
by
not
Arri.
saying Steadicam devices will go away. I'm saying the brand Steadicam might go away.
Rather not comment.
Okay. That's fair enough.
There's some people who know me will know why I'm not commenting.
Listen. I know
Yeah,
you.
no.
I understand.
And you know the other thing is look, I don't want to see any company fail in this industry.
Nobody wants to see any
because
company fail. I'm asking a
it's
question.
a
that's
horrible
all.
thing.
Yeah.
There's
think from-
restructuring going on a lot of things.
From
People
my
are
perspective-
reconsidering products.
Let me
Personally,
ask
I
you
think
this.
Tiffin has too many versions of the Steadicam.
I agree with that
They have
100%.
like
So
11
that's what I was
models.
going to say. They've mismanaged the brand and the product line, and in my mind, and I like them. They're good people. And I've had 8 people come up to me and say they're Garrett Brown this week, which is an inside joke from a long time ago. But anyway, I also think that they've done nothing to innovate in the last 20 years, maybe 10 years. They have not innovated anything in a long time, and they let the Movies, the Defies, and the DJIs of the world come into their house and eat their lunch without buying any of those companies, without realizing that that was a real product and making one,
Yeah.
without any of it.
They do have an adapter.
Good
so
for
you
them.
can put it on.
That's great.
Um,
Why aren't they the ones who make
know,
you buy
The thing is a gimbal is great for certain things, and there's a segment of filmmakers that believe the gimbal is the end-all be-all.
No. I'm not saying it's the end-all, be-all. You've taught me that. But the problem is, as a company, they have to continue to innovate. They have to give you a reason to buy the product.
I agree.
And they have to move with the times. And so if that means that we also have to have an additional product line that is this, to not only introduce new people to the brand and show them why they still need a Steadicam, but to also augment sales.
I think there is, and I really can't speak for what's going on inside the company.
No, I don't want you to. Hey, let's change the subject.
Yeah,
actually.
let's change the
How's
subject.
that sound?
I like that idea.
It's the first. I bailed you out. That's the first time I've ever done that with a guest.
I appreciate it.
But I just was curious, and I wanted to give my 2 cents.
You know, but it is. And I don't think it's a failure of vision. I think it's a belief in their approach. And you have
listen,
to give them credit for sticking by their guns.
They literally have been the most revolutionary company they changed the way we shoot television, film, everything, without a doubt.
Well, that was Cinema Products. That was Cinema Products.
What?
Because Cinema Products Tiffin bought Cinema Products. Cinema Products is who built first Steadicam.
Okay, but
Yeah, but
the Steadicam changed.
But the Steadicam has changed. Yeah, the device has changed the way that we shoot.
Right. So
for the much better.
And it has been something you've loved for your whole career. I don't want to see it go anywhere.
It's been fantastic. I mean, I make a great living because of it.
Yeah.
But getting back to everything, that's not what I only do.
Yeah.
You know, because nowadays you can't be the one-trick pony anymore.
I agree. That's what I was saying. Is
Yeah.
that well, anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. We'll move on. What do you think is the best product or innovate? Again, I don't think there's that much innovation here this year. What do you think is the best product or innovation that you've seen?
I mean, I've seen a bunch of things.
I saw these guys, Atlas Lens Company. They're doing.
That is such a space that I don't want to be in. I mean, right now the competition in lenses.
Anamorphic lenses.
Yeah, the competition in lenses is insane.
A lot of people told me this is the greatest thing in the world.
The holy grail for the anamorphic lens is close focus and a diopter. A macro anamorphic would be the absolute holy grail of products.
Well, do you like the idea of an anamorphic lens?
Well, again, if the story is served by shooting in the anamorphic format, yes. But not all stories are served by shooting anamorphic. I mean, you really wouldn't want to shoot a comedy anamorphic.
Why?
Too much scanning in the frame. You start placing. The thing about anamorphic is it's framed totally different than a 185.
Right.
Because you have a much wider frame, so you start spreading things out, and you allow things to play in the background in anamorphic that you don't have the physical room for in a 185, or you don't want to. A 185 is more akin to the human field of view, so that tends to work better for a comedy. It's just, again, that's like a lens choice, a camera choice, a film stock choice, the choice between HD or film. Format choice is another choice in how you design the project.
You don't shoot a lot in anamorphic, though, do you?
No. My career has been very interesting. Is it's definitely a spherical career. I've definitely shot more spherical than anamorphic.
And what about audio? How important people, I think, often overlook audio.
Audio is very important.
I think it's very important.
I mean, all you got to do is play Jaws.
Yeah.
She's swimming.
So why don't people pay more attention to audio? And I don't mean the people you work with.
Because
I mean
it's difficult. Because it's really, really difficult.
Why is audio so difficult?
It's perception. There's nothing that you can actually put on a piece of paper and go, this is audio. It's
well, and I think
totally
would you say this
perception.
that it's also
it literally is in your head.
Right. It's in one person's head who's doing the audio, or a group of people, because even if you have levels and meters and all that, it only gives you half the story.
I hear differently than you hear. You don't hear my tinnitus.
You have tinnitus?
Oh yeah.
How'd you get tinnitus? You have everything, by the way.
Ear infection when I was 6.
Oh really? You've had it that long?
Oh yeah.
Is that okay? I mean, Harrison Ford has tinnitus, doesn't he?
It's maddening.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's a 2 kilohertz tone that's above the noise floor right now.
I don't know how. How can you tell that? I don't know how you.
Because we've actually mapped my frequencies.
You've got 2 bad shoulders.
No, they're not bad.
They're good.
They're awesome. Surgery's amazing.
You're like the bio man.
Yeah. No, but it's audio is something that plays in each other's in your own head. I hear frequency response differently, and you hear frequency response. Each one of us has a different flight or fight response,
right?
Which sound triggers,
sure,
because that's what we're hardwired to. So good sound designers know how to play these games, and they're in very much demand.
I just saw. That's very true, and I think it's very important.
First surround sound movie was actually the first 2. It was a 2-channel. It was a front channel and a rear channel. Was Aliens.
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 Not Alien. Aliens.
Aliens.
Sigourney Weaver. That was the second film.
The second film, a fantastic movie.
Scared the life out of me. That film. I watched that in a family friend's house in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I was all of 5 years old.
Yeah.
It was pitch black, and I'm a city boy. Now I'm in the boondocks, and we watched the movie, and I am freaked out. And then I have to go to bed in a house by myself that creaks, and yet there's no sounds anywhere else.
The crazy thing is the second track is just sounds that are put in to annoy you, to get you on edge, and he used that. The second movie to use rear channel was a movie called Flatliners.
Yeah, I remember Flatliners. That was with Julia Roberts.
Yep. And Flatliners, every time they went into the flatline space, you heard an EKG in the back channel very low. Just a toot, toot, toot. and it really got you into where it was in the movie. But the example I love to use is Jaws. If you took that soundtrack away, her swimming in the beach at night
Of course.
would not be scary.
Right. Well, I
'cause
mean,
it's a
Spielberg's
foam fin.
He's a genius.
Yeah. Oh, total genius.
Yeah. A foam fin. I love
foam
it. I mean, it is, but I love how
It
you're just
is.
like, it's just a foam fin.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could have put a sock out in the ocean. It would have been more scary. I just needed the crack trim up again.
The shark is working. The shark is working. Apparently, when they were shooting the movie, the shark didn't work a lot.
I know, yeah.
And they basically had the whole island, and no matter where you went on the island, there was somebody on a production walkie-talkie, and many times you would hear, the shark is not working, the shark is not working. And then all of a sudden you'd hear on the radio, the shark is working, the shark is working.
That film almost ruined Spielberg's career.
It's also the most expensive handheld movie ever made.
I did not know.
Because the entire movie's handheld.
It is?
Yes, they had to. It's the only way they could shoot on the boat. They tried shooting on sea legs, and it didn't look right.
We've got some people watching in our Slack chat, and I should give them some love. This is Eric Fletcher. He's the director of. He's a director of photography, producer,
Do they have any
cinematographer.
questions?
Yeah, I'm getting to it.
Okay, cool.
One of the questions was, who are we talking to? So I'm teeing you up.
You didn't know who they were talking to?
Eric, it's
Run another lower third. Come on. Put the name up. Put the name up.
he does. What is it up? Oh, we can't see it on the
we
program
can't see it.
monitor. Yeah, it's up. Okay. So what I was going to say is that you're really a great camera operator, but I'm good at this.
I know you are.
All right. So
You're much better at that than I am.
the Society of Camera Operator. He's a camera operator. He's an unbelievable, let's say, filmmaker, director, producer, and you are doing an amazing work behind the scenes. Not only camera operator, director,
Technical chairperson of the SOC.
there you go. I was going to say on Broadway bartender, but
And
the technical chairperson.
Well, I wanted to
of the
throw that in
SSC.
there too, because I knew you were going Broadway bartender.
Okay, here we go. So here are the questions. Let's see.
Okay.
They want to know what your favorite film, not TV show, but favorite film you've ever worked on is.
Favorite film I've ever worked on. Not the favorite film I've ever seen.
That's, by the way, that's from Jenny from Finland.
Cool. Favorite film I've ever worked on.
Oh, that's going to take you a minute. So CJ wants to know how you started in the industry. We've talked about this before. So
Born into it. I was like 4 years old, sitting on an assistant editor's lap, spinning rewinds, looking at footage that my dad and other DP shot.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know your dad would. So I thought we had talked about this before,
no,
but I didn't know this story.
My dad shot for Charlie Guggenheim.
Wow.
Yeah, the documentary filmmaker who won the documentary award for the Jonestown flood.
I guess you were born into it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much.
So do we have a favorite film you've worked on?
Favorite film I've worked on probably would be a movie most people have never seen called Seeing Other People, just because of the absurdity of making the movie. It was a movie with Bryan Cranston. We made it, and I showed it to a friend of mine who's one of the greatest operators ever, very well-known DP. And I gave it to Tom, and I said, hey, just take a look at the movie. Tell me what you think. And he comes back and goes, that is a great little $6 million 30-day movie. And I just start laughing hysterically. He's like, what? I went 18 days, $500,000. And he's like, oh my God, you guys did amazing. And it was just, that's one of the reasons it was fun. It was the problem solving. I'm credited for operating 2 cameras simultaneously, because I would set up one shot, I'd set up a wide shot, and I'd grab a PA or a producer and stick their eye in the eyepiece and go, make sure nothing bad comes in. And then I'd go and operate the B camera.
Wow.
Yeah. It was fun.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what you're doing on Broadway Bartender.
Kind of, sort of. More questions?
Yeah,
Cool.
See, I don't have to hold the phone to.
No worries,
I mean,
okay.
I'll look back and stuff every now and then, but yeah. I'm telling you,
The implant's working.
I think what I need is, you have to direct what I do from now on. Just stay with us. You'll do Broadway Bartender when we do a show. You'll direct. I'll have an earpiece, and you'll tell me what. Hey, Michael, get to more questions, please. So Digital Phil wanted to know.
Okay.
How hard do you think it was for them to make Aliens? And then from a camera operator perspective, when you're actually shooting Aliens, did it like when they're shooting it? What happens to the actors and for the camera operator when the stuff doesn't necessarily look as real as it looks through the lens? So the first part is, how hard do you think it was for them to shoot that?
I mean, it's a James Cameron film. It was difficult. You know, I mean, hey, no disrespect to James. He's a perfectionist and he does some amazing things. You know, people don't understand why Avatar took 9 years to shoot, because he shot the movie 3 times, because the technology changed every time he got towards the end. The technology had made such a quantum leap that he wanted to go back and reshoot it.
Right.
So I give the guy a lot of credit for sticking to his guns and making something that's actually pretty good. Oddly, horror movies are not scary. Horror movies are actually kind of comical to shoot, because the creature's not going to work.
So
The blood squibs aren't going to go off the way you think, or they're going to go off bigger than you think.
well, and as an actor and as a camera operator, you know it's not real, right?
Well, yeah, but okay,
and you don't have that soundtrack going in the back.
no, you don't have the soundtrack. You know, you got people
But
yelling
that's-
off camera what's going on. I mean,
But that's part of what sells it, because if you, if I feel like that's part of what sells it, because if, in my mind, because if you, for the actor, you got to know what's coming, otherwise you'd
well,
be
but
too
like
afraid.
in the original Alien, the chest burster scene at the dinner table, nobody knew that was happening. Ridley didn't tell anybody, and the first take's ruined because Veronica Cartwright used some rather choice words about Ridley, but nobody knew what was going to happen. He didn't prep them for it or anything like that. So there's ways of doing it, you know, and the crew's in on it.
Sure. So how hard do you think it was to shoot Aliens? This is the sequel.
I don't think it was an overly difficult movie to shoot.
Yeah.
I think it was ambitious for the budget that they had, because they didn't actually have a very big budget. And it's a very straightforward film. There's a bunch of confined set work, which makes life difficult. There's a couple of mechanical props that have to work. The power loader had to work in order to fight the Queen.
What about the from the camera operator relationship with the actor on a shoot like that? Especially if the sets don't look as real, or the props don't look as real as they do through the lens. Does it make it harder for the actor, and does it make it harder for you?
You know, the actors are professionals, and they go to their little space in their head to do whatever they have to do to make it real. I try to make sure that, you know, you can't see that it's a retractable blade knife when the actor is flashing it where he shouldn't be flashing it. You know, I'm trying to preserve the illusion, and the actor is creating that illusion by their talents and abilities.
I think that's a good explanation. Did you ever want to be an actor? That's
No.
from CJ in Texas.
No,
Never.
never.
JT Hockey, same kind of question, a little different. Have you ever been in a movie in the background or anything? You ever had a cameo?
Yes.
What movie?
Several. There's a TV,
several.
Yeah, there's a TV series called Hit the Floor where an actress is doing something on set. So the other camera shot my camera team doing the initial take. They yell cut, and then they told us to do exactly what we would do. You know, do whatever you would do right after a take. And each one of us, to a man, pulled out our phone and turned around.
That's pretty funny.
That's exactly what we do. Okay, I'm going to go play my game. And then I got a call once for a movie to be in a movie, and it's a long, involved, and strange story.
Were you in it?
The shoot didn't happen.
Okay.
So, no, it didn't happen, but it was very funny.
That's very funny. When I was at New York One, they used to see if we wanted to be on movies all the time and be the reporter, because they thought that a reporter would, you know, run up to the court steps and ask the question better than anybody else.
It was a series for HBO with a very demanding director who likes total accuracy and everything. And I get a text from the production coordinator one day. These are the guys that did Dexter. And they know my mindset. They know that I'm almost impossible to offend. And it texted me, "Hey, got a strange question. Can I call you in a second?" And I responded with some flip remark, And
I've got a strange question.
yeah.
What did you say? I've got a sock.
No, I basically said I never saw the donkey before in my life.
What did you say?
I've never seen that donkey before in my life. and the return phone call didn't come for 45 minutes. And I was like, "Dude, you said you were going to call right away." He goes, "I had to show everybody the text."
I thought he was going to say, I let you finish with the donkey.
Yeah, no, he was like, "I had to show everybody the text." Because they were calling me because the scene had a camera operator shooting a porno, and they wanted and they were calling me to play
let's
the
call
camera
it an adult
operator.
film. Let's
Yeah.
keep the level here.
No, that one was a porno, and they called me to because that was the storyline.
Yeah.
And because it was going to be two actors simulating, but they still wanted to have a camera operator that knew what was going on and would operate properly.
Have you ever done an adult film before?
No,
So how would you
I
know
have
how to
not.
do it properly?
Because I've shot enough love scenes and had to tell guys to flip and swivel
Excuse
their
me.
hips.
Could you shift your hips to the left, swing your hips to the left when you get into the bed,
Swivel
your hips to the left when you get into the bed, so that to hide the sock. Okay.
Yeah. I've also
We
had
still
to
don't
ask
know what
girls
kind of.
I don't care what the sock was.
Well, I just want to know, like, if I have to ask an actor,
Oh my God.
what if
This
we're shooting
one's
it?
not going on the SOC site.
What if we're shooting? No, this is educational. What if we're shooting an episode of Broadway Bartender and we need Anthony to put on a sock?
No, we're never doing that episode because he also stands behind a counter. He could be naked from the pan. And actually, I did a TV series. We had a lead actor. Yeah. His gag was every time he was behind a desk, he would walk in, do the rehearsal, they'd go to do the take, he'd stand up, drop his pants, sit back down. So he was just doing it in his underwear with his pants around his ankles. And you never saw behind it. But when he would watch the episode, he goes, "I'm not wearing pants." And that was his thing.
People are interesting, are they not?
Yeah.
All right, but I'm serious. Like, I'm a curious guy. I'm interested. Maybe we'll shoot something once, and we'll need to have a sock because it'll be a BeTerrific production.
Talk to a wardrobe person. That's their job.
All right. So what have you had to tell the ladies to cover up?
Mm-hmm.
You do it politely, I imagine, very professionally.
I
always say when I teach people how to mic people.
That's a quagmire because it's like sometimes you're getting them to roll to change the shape of a body to whatever. You're doing it, and you've got to be cognizant of the fact that what's going on in their head, that they're sitting there, they're exposed to the world.
Right.
They're going to be exposed to even more people in the world.
Oftentimes, in all seriousness, you really have to protect them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've called cut on shots and whipped off, tilted off or panned off to not show an actress, maybe bending over and exposing too much cleavage, and then I'll have wardrobe come in and
tape it up,
top stick it down.
Yeah. What about you said change the shape of a body? You're actually trying to make them look different in the bed or something. Yeah, more attractive.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it so that when they see it, they're pleased with it.
They're happy.
They're happy.
What I mean that's nice of you, but if they have an imperfection, it's hard. That's what it is.
I'm going to do my best to hide it.
You're an awesome dude. That's very nice. Now I know why all the ladies like working with you.
Actually, they do.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
That wasn't a joke.
Well, and okay, here's an example. You mentioned, how comfortable Anthony is with me.
Yeah.
It's just because the way
I didn't mention it on air, but I've talked to you about this. Yeah.
But
he loves you.
I make actors comfortable.
It's part of your job as a camera operator. That goes back to that relationship we talked about before. Yeah. And that's why I say
allow them to be very comfortable so they can go where they need to go.
Also influences how the scenes are and the shoots are.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. So just getting back to this adult thing. So they asked you to shoot, and what happened though? You didn't do it?
There was a conflict.
So it was a scene in a movie where we need a camera operator
shooting an adult movie.
Right, but you weren't shooting an adult movie.
No.
It was part of a movie.
Yes.
Right.
Would
you have liked to do that scene?
Oh, I told him I'd do it.
Yeah.
It just schedule-wise, it didn't work out.
That's
and-
too
and
bad.
then
I
they
would have
dropped
loved to
the
have
scene.
seen you do that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was like, sure, I'll do it. I don't care.
Sure, I'll do it. I brought the sock. Here you go. With that, Eric, thank you. I hope this goes up on the SOC website. You don't feel it's
know.
good enough?
Well, I think
This
it's
wasn't
good
my
enough, but
finest
I
work?
just-
Really?
Yeah, but we should probably talk more about what we've seen in the hall some other time too.
Let's have you back on.
All right.
All right?
Cool.
How about this? Let's have you on if you have time for the wrap-up show today
Okay.
and tomorrow.
We'll
How
see
about
about
today?
tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, today I can promise.
All right.
Tomorrow I might just
I hope we get to go to dinner.
be noping
Before
my way
this
out
is
of the
over.
city.
You've been
yeah,
in New York
probably.
with me twice and once without me, and 3 times now, and we have not had dinner.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's got to
Yeah.
change.
Okay,
Maybe tonight?
maybe tonight.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with a whole lot more. Right after this, he's Eric Fletcher. I'm Michael Artsis. You are the Terrifics at BeTerrific TV on all social media.